it is now. It is no longer here, and it's basically, you could see it from all directions, like they say. And you know, $5 and $1,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, nowadays. But yeah, it was back then when times were like that. That was pretty hard. So going on to the next documents. Now this locomotive kind of went silenced for a couple of, I'd say about a decade and a half. And then a time later, it doesn't say, but what day it was signed on here. Maybe I can find here. Looks like minutes of March 17th, 1980. This is when this locomotive came up again. It says the councilman, or the council next considered a request from the Great Western Railroad Museum to acquire engine 1024, which is on display in Potter's Park. Councilman Jones moved that either the city manager or the mayor reply with a polite but firm no, seconded by Councilman Lafever. The motion was carried unanimously. So they did want him to say no at the time, but they also wanted to get the community's response from it, so they held another meeting a couple of days, I'd say maybe a day or two later, where they held I think they had like 80 people come out for this too, so it was a pretty good turnout for this engine. It says engine 1024, Mr. Noller provided copies of a letter from the Fort Worth and Western Railroad Company proposing that the city of Lahaina either permanently loan or trade or exchange for goods and services or receive a cash donation for steam engine 1024, which sits in the northwestern edge of Potter's Park. Mr. Noller asked council if they want to pursue this matter. Council held a discussion on the matter, resulting in instructions to the city attorney to check with the Santa Fe Railroad concerning the memorandum of donation, which I just read to you, which was the first document from then, which they gave the engine to the city in 1954. Mr. Maloff will report back on the council his findings. So then a couple other days later, it says Mr. Noller reported that the Santa Fe Railroad has no restrictions on the engine of donation of engine 1024 to the city. Therefore, if they so desire, council will sell the engine to the Fort Worth and Western Railway Company. Mr. Noller said they will pay somewhere around $15,000 to $18,000 for the engine. Council discussed the matter. Several suggestions were made. Councilman Connolly suggested if sold, the money should be earmarked to go back into parks. Councilman Don Rizzuto suggested donating the money to the Otero Museum. Councilman Hyatt suggested seeing if any local groups would come forward to refurbish the engine. In the end, it was decided to set the matter for a public hearing at November 20th council meeting. So that's what I was telling you about. They were interested in selling the locomotive, but they wanted to get the people's feedback in Lahaina. So a couple last papers here. Let me see if I could find it. November 20th, 1989. At 7:30 p.m. is when this was held. Public hearing about engine 1024. The purpose of this public hearing was to get input from the Lahaina citizens of whether they should keep or sell engine 1024, which is on display at Potter Park in a deteriorated condition. The Fort Worth and Western Railway Company in Fort Worth, Texas, is interested in buying the engine from the city. Mayor Sneath opened the meeting and asked if persons wished to speak to the council concerning the steam engine. There were approximately 80 persons in the audience. 24 persons expressed their opinion that 1024 should stay in Lahaina. The entire audience supported them in their statements that the engine should stay. Offers were made to furnish, paint, and donate labor. Others expressed that the city should be responsible for the upkeep of the engine. After giving everyone a chance to speak, Mayor Sneath closed the meeting. And then they made some motions on it. Rather than accept any offers of labor, money, or paint, the city manager shall be instructed by council to use whatever resources he feels are necessary to clean up steam engine 1024 and maintain it as part of the city of Lahana. And it was seconded. Then the discussion, there was no further discussion, and the motion was carried unanimously. So, this locomotive did get repainted a couple years after this. I'd say about a 3-year period after. Yeah, here we go. Okay, it says, I can't see where the date is on this paper, but engine 1024 restoration will be done by the Kaiwans Club, or yeah, I think that's how you say it, with the Otero Historical Society. According to the activities, they will begin in a few weeks. So that was that, and then we can probably find a date on this last page of 1024 that I got from the official documents. This is 1990, April 16th. It says volunteers are coming forward to help with engine 1024. Heritage Cablevision is donating $100. Gibson Center is donating 12 gallons of paint. So it looks like April 16th, a couple of weeks after that, they were painting this locomotive. That is all the history I have on this locomotive as of right now, as far as official court documentation. There is a little plaque up there, which I will go read to you as well, that tells where this locomotive's been and what its main duties were for the ATSF. So